guys, and welcome to Paleo Tips, Tricks, and Hacks. And this time we're not in the tree house walking the dog because we kind of let the day get away from us by just chilling out and enjoying a day off. Spent all day watching YouTube videos and having fun. Eating kind of bad food for us. Bad food.
Right? Yeah, bad food for us. Isn't it weird? Our cheat days involve eating like primal. That's our cheat.
Yeah.
That's pretty much at this point how low we go. We don't really do anything else. Well, still, what we ate today qualifies under today's topic, which is clean eating.
Yeah.
That's right.
So today on Paleo Tips, Tricks, and Hacks, we're going to be talking about clean eating and how we actually got into eating paleo in the first place.
That's right. I mean, this is the clean eating diet. We learned this from the Clean Eating magazine when that was coming out. It was by Toscarino. That's right?
Yeah.
Okay, just making sure I have the right person.
You got it.
Yay!
Yay!
Yeah, they were doing that a few years back, and we would get those, and Deborah would get those and read them, and
her books.
Her books.
Her
we got
books.
several of her books now, including her exercise books. It's cool. It's a cool thing to get into. But it was kind of the gateway diet to our current.
See, that's not entirely the whole story though, because it started way back when we first got married.
Yes.
Because we did not have a lot of money for our food budget.
No.
In fact, when we first got married, we budgeted out about $36 for the two of us for a week's worth of food.
Yeah.
And that is pretty awful.
Yeah, we were literally living off of about $5 a day.
Yeah, we were
of us.
eating a lot of cucumber sandwiches with cheese.
Yeah.
And a lot of ravioli with homemade sauce.
Oh.
And a lot of pasta, a lot of sandwiches, a lot of peanut butter and jelly.
Yeah, I mean, poor people food.
A lot of eggs. And at that time, I still drank a lot of milk, and so did Ray.
Yeah, love it. Love milk.
And then we were watching something, I don't even remember what it was, but they were talking about the Okinawa diet and how the people of Okinawa live so long. And Ray got really interested in that, and so it seemed like we were on our way to Florida, and we stopped at a bookstore in Dothan.
Could be, yeah.
I just remember that was kind of the way we started.
I had forgotten completely about that. Was so long ago.
And what's funny is the same day we're in the bookstore, Ray's looking for this book. He goes off to ask one of the people working there about where he might find this book, and I'm looking, and I find the Mary Lou Henner book.
Mary Lou Henner from Taxi fame, actress. She has been practically ageless for the last 40 years, in part because of this admittedly rather extreme diet she does.
Very extreme. Yeah. And it's basically food combining. If you don't know what that is, it's where you eat, you start off the day maybe eating fruit and specific fruits. You don't combine certain fruits with other fruits, like high sugar fruits with citrus would be a no-no.
Yeah, you don't eat apples and bananas, that would be bad.
And you eat your carb meals together. You eat your protein together. You don't mix carbs and proteins. You don't mix fruit with anything. And
because it all digests at a different pH.
Wow. So many rules. It was tough.
Too tough for Raymond to deal with.
Too tough for me to deal with. But she also said, no sugar, no dairy, and that. And we did some Okinawa, and that was okay, but it was kind of on the expensive side, and we couldn't do it so much. We'd do it for like a week, and then we'd be out of money, and we'd have to you know, go back to eating peanut butter and jelly, and
For the rest of the month.
and then we do it for another week, and then so we're like, okay, kind of running up to like, but not in a real way. It's kind of like, you know, when you really don't want to do something and you're like, oh, I'm really going to do it this time. No. Finally, it was after Lydia was born, and we were in the second apartment that we lived in, that we were like, okay, we're going to do this. Ray had a new job. We had a little more money to allocate to
That's right, yeah.
food. So we said, hey, we're going to do this. Mary Lou Hunter, going to do it. We're going to eat like her. We're going to look ageless and slim and beautiful. And giving up dairy was the hardest thing I've ever done in my entire life.
Oh, wow.
I mean,
Dairy.
I literally felt some days like I was going to die. My stomach hurt so bad, and it would cramp, and it would feel like I was starving. And I would eat something, and then I would feel like worse. It was just, I constantly felt hungry. I constantly felt in distress. My stomach just hurt so bad. And I'm like, this is how I die. I die from not drinking milk. And that sounds melodramatic, but I'm being totally serious here. That is like literally what went through my mind. But once, and a lot of it is just a huge addiction to dairy, because I'm the person who drank milk in the morning, I drank milk at night, I ate a lot of cheese, and Ray was even worse.
Oh,
You know, I couldn't go to bed without a cup of milk, and so
I could eat one of those 1 pound blocks of cheddar cheese by myself in one sitting. I will not tell you how many times I have done so.
So, you know, being kind of person who just absolutely loves sweet things, I thought sugar would be harder to give up, but dairy was definitely the hardest thing I've ever given up in my life. But I'm glad, because once I gave up dairy, I started to feel better. My skin cleared up more. You know, now I still eat a little bit of cheese, but it's goat's milk cheese or sheep's milk cheese, and it doesn't cause me the distress that cow's milk did. And me always looking for something that's going to make me feel good, something that's going to make me not gain a ton of weight, and something that's going to taste good and be not repetitive, because it's weird. I grew up eating a lot of repetitive foods, and I said I could never do that. And food is just something that I'm really interested in all the time. I love reading cookbooks and trying new foods, and so I'm like, okay, what's next in the journey? And that's when we kind of came across clean eating.
Yeah.
I saw one of the magazine cookbooks, and I'm like, this looks interesting, and I picked it up and I looked through it, and it had, you know, why you should eat. Oh, actually it was natural health.
Right, yeah, we had a subscription to that.
We had a
for
subscription
while.
to
That's
Natural
right,
Health.
and one of the features was 1 month was
Clean eating.
clean eating.
But yeah, they talked about how, you know, preservatives and additives and stuff would wreck your health and everything. And, you know, it's common sense kind of stuff, but until you read specifically how
Right?
And you're thinking, oh, I'm experiencing those things. And know that.
Right.
And then you stop and you start eating the other way and you start feeling better. Then you're like, okay, yeah, I guess, yeah. And yes, eating clean is a lot of work.
Yeah.
But it can be expensive, but it is a lot cheaper than going to the doctor all the time, and it is a lot less work than feeling bad all the time. So
yeah, well, let's put it in perspective. Yes, we spend a huge proportion of our monthly budget on food. It is our number one
expense.
So, that's true. That being said, I am a 40-year-old man with type 1 diabetes who has, in not too terribly long ago, been in intensive care for, neurological problems. And I am on exactly 2 prescription medications, one of them being insulin because I'm a type 1 diabetic. A lot of men my age, like my dad when he was my age, on at least 5 or 6. And you got to think about how much that costs every month. So really, I don't think we're spending more per month on the food we eat than a lot of people spend on their heart medication, cholesterol medication, blood pressure medications, and all that other stuff. And I certainly would much rather, spend it on the food than have to take all this medicines.
Clean eating, definitely a gateway to living a more healthy life.
Yep.
And that's very important to me because I grew up a very sick child, spent a lot of time in doctors' offices for various reasons, various illnesses. Spent my
second Christmas.
The Christmas after I turned 2, spent it in the hospital with pneumonia. Spent just about every Christmas with bronchitis or the flu.
And when you grow up a sick child who is always in the doctor's office, you're highly motivated once you have children to try to avoid that. But there's one of the things I like about clean eating. Should we actually talk about the clean eating now?
Oh, well, trying to, and you...
Okay, yeah, okay. Well, fine, blame me.
Anyway, clean eating is eating foods that have just a few ingredients, stuff that you recognize as food, no chemicals, no preservatives, no additives. If you can find something with like less than 5 ingredients and you can pronounce all of them, you're eating clean.
Pretty much, and that right there was what sold me on it. Is okay, because after like the Mary Lou Henner thing we were talking about, all the rules and all that kind of stuff you gotta keep track of, I was like, I was kind of turned off on that. That's just, we got stuff to do. We have lives, but this was a fairly simple rule, and no matter what else you do, people out there, we eat paleo. Other people out there literally can't eat paleo. We know somebody from the YouTubes who cannot digest meat, so they are vegetarian. Wonderful, that's fine. Obviously, you have a very good reason for that. We have a very good reason for eating this way, because I've got the diabetes and all that other stuff. But if you do nothing else, if you just follow that one golden rule of pick food that has the fewest number of ingredients that you can recognize as actually being food ingredients with names you can easily pronounce, you are going a long way to eating clean and healthy.
Yep, and if you can do so and do it organic, which is even more expensive, the better. But if you have to choose between non-organic and junk food, go with non-organic.
It's like, remember, like you said, was it your blog or was it a video where you're talking about preservatives? Remember? The entire point of preservatives are to keep bacteria from breaking down food. so it's shelf stable. Once you eat it, the food with preservatives in it, you can't break it down because it's got preservatives in it that keep you from breaking it. You know, this sound, you know, it's not, in retrospect, that makes perfect sense, but you don't think about that when you're eating junk food full of preservatives.
No, and you gotta remember, junk food is scientifically created to make it as addictive as possible. So when you're sitting there going, oh, I could never do that, you're right. You can't, because you're addicted. And if you want to be that person who is so addicted to, you know, the foods that you just can't live without, then, you know, you need to accept the fact that you're an addict.
I know, that gets frustrating for me. I used to be I can only describe as voracious smoker. A lot. And it was extremely difficult for me to quit that. But, you know, there's a social stigma against smoking, and there's a certain degree of social stigma against having a hard time quitting smoking. But you've got people who just can't give up eating their favorite brand of potato chips, and they are just as addicted to those potato chips, which in the long term have fairly significant health, you know, consequences, but there's not that social stigma necessarily connected to that. So that gets frustrating to me sometimes.
Yeah, because, you know, you can be like, oh man, I'm gonna go get a bag of chips, and nobody's gonna look at you like, you really want to eat that bag of chips? I mean, I might.
Yeah.
But
then you're a food Nazi.
I got no manners.
But again, you know, this was a stepping stone to our journey to paleo, but it was a big one. It taught us a really firm rule that no matter what we did after clean eating, when we would go try different diets, we tried 17-day diet, we tried virgin diet, we tried so many other different things, we still took that principle with us.
Yeah, well, virgin diet was the immediate step before we went to paleo.
Yeah.
Because it was no corn, no peanuts, no vegetable oil, you know, a lot of the things that are common allergens. And so I'm sitting there looking for recipes that don't have any of these things, because
and then don't
because the recipes in her book did not look appetizing to me. They look gross. When I look at a recipe, I can imagine exactly what it's going to taste like with probably about 98% accuracy.
We still love you, JJ.
And yeah, we do. And, you know, but the recipes in that book just... And then we tried, because we had never tried pea protein powder, and that was like a big...
Oh.
Oh.
Don't even, I just threw up a little in my mouth. Thinking about the pea protein. The horror.
Oh, you want to talk about some nasty stuff. That pea protein was gross.
And it was expensive. We had to go to another town.
Gross.
To the special health foods. It wasn't even the one next to, like, in the major shopping center.
Yeah, we went
like
to what, like,
off-road.
we went to 3 different health food stores looking for it. And it was really expensive and really nasty. And
right.
I couldn't do it. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Nope. That was a deal breaker.
This is disgusting.
It really was.
If you can stomach it, more power to you.
Yep.
Oh yeah, that was like the next step that we took. And like I said, I was looking for recipes because there was recipes just did not sound good to me. And I kept coming up on paleo recipes, paleo cookbooks. And at the time, probably thinking a lot like a lot of you think, which is, paleo, that's a joke, right? You want me to eat what? I would see other people post paleo recipes for like desserts, and I'd be like, Paleolithic people did not bake. They didn't make desserts. That was kind of snobby. I'm very sorry.
Now we have a segment on your YouTube channel on Paleofy This where we do exactly those things.
Oh, we haven't named desserts on Paleo This. That's actually in the coffee spoon, sir.
Oh, excuse me.
What am I gonna
Still
do
getting
with him?
snooty with me.
What am I going to do with him?
Well, you're going to keep me because I do a lot of the cooking.
That's right.
Mwah.
So, yeah, I would see that and I'd be like, whatever, paleo. and then I actually started looking at the recipes and they looked a lot tastier than what was in the virgin diet. And I'm like, all right, let's give this a try. That's how we got here.
Yeah, that's how we got here. Now, there's a couple things I want you to take away from our discussion on clean eating internet. Because I actually think it's a better place to start than going straight from the standard American diet or SAD food to paleo. Because that is an extreme jump. That's like, you know, to use the smoking thing again, it's like going from smoking 2 packs a day to quitting cold turkey. If you can do that, more power to you, but it's going to be a very uncomfortable process, and you might not, you know, necessarily stick with it. So that's why I like starting with clean eating, because in general, the food you eat is the same food. You know, the menu is the same. It's just you're eating healthier versions. Instead of getting the box of macaroni and cheese, you can make it with like real ingredients. So, you know, you're still eating the foods you're used to, and that makes it an easier transition. But it is so much healthier and it has so much less of the processed stuff in it. You're already going to feel better. And this is what happened for me, so I'm going on a limb and thinking this would happen to a lot of people. When you start feeling better, you have this realization because you had no idea how bad you felt until you start feeling better. You don't realize that your definition of feeling normal is a really low bar in terms of things like inflammation, or, you know, feeling hot all the time, or feeling stuffed up all the time, or all these other symptoms of mild allergic reactions to overprocessed food, you know. Now, not everyone has those, and the people, you know, we're all jealous of you. But those of us who have these reactions, you know.
And they're usually younger. The older you get, the more,
yeah,
the harder it is to
because your
eat
immune
that.
system's been fighting this stuff your whole life. So, you know, it gets to the point where feeling good like that, and then you eat something that you used to eat that has all the processed stuff, and you start feeling bad again, you don't want to feel that way anymore. You get to the point where, you know, you choose to feel physically better than is more important to you than the food you used to eat. And then once you do that, you know, you start looking, well, maybe I'll feel even better if I eat this. Maybe I'll actually lose weight if I eat that. And see, that's how we got here.
Yep.
So it's got that one easy rule that you should follow, and it's a good place to start.
Alright, so that's, I think, a good place to end it for this one. Alright, so that is our tip for today on your journey to becoming paleo. Eat clean.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll see you guys in the next video. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell so that you know when we upload. And
if you want to see us be able to do more videos and different varieties of stuff, and, you know, pick more awesome things for you to, you know, for us to review for you, you know, think about dropping a few dollars on the Patreon.
Yep. And comments down below.
Yep.
Any questions you may have, and we will see you later.
Bye.
Bye.